Connecticut where I was playing music for a dance for a week. So that was fun. Where in Connecticut? In Portland. It's near Middletown.
I know. I lived in Connecticut for a long time.
There you go. Give myself
Guess we're middle in the middle of the state.
Good morning. And welcome to First Parish Brewster. We are a Unitarian, Universalist, welcoming congregation of people of diverse philosophies and beliefs, people of various cultures and races, sexual orientations, gender identities, abilities, and socioeconomic backgrounds. Whoever you are, wherever you are on your path, may this be a place of rest and restoration on your journey. I'm Margaret Rice Moyer, and I'm happy to be with you this morning, sharing worship with our wonderful music director, Kaisa Fern. Our services are recorded and available on YouTube midweek. Masks are now optional in worship, although we do have the back right-hand corner that will remain mask required in order to support a welcoming space for all. At First Parish, we also welcome and celebrate our children, youth, and families and the gifts they bring into our community, along with the noises, movements, and mirth that accompany them. You're going to have to make noises and mirth. Please, however, take a moment to silence your cell phones. For those of you who may be first-time visitors this morning, if you would like to know more about First Parish Brewster, Unitarian Universalist, please fill out a welcome card found on the back of the pew in front of you and place it into the offertory basket when that comes around. There is also a wonderful information pamphlet in your pews that has helpful information to welcome you. Welcome on this morning, which we make sacred by our presence together. And a big welcome to people streaming. We're glad you're here.
Time ferried me down.
what I believe, a religion for liminal times. Okay, I confess I'm a Unitarian Universalist evangelical. I know I'm taking a risk here, but there you have it. Margaret Rice Moyer, Evangelical Unitarian Universalist. Are you squirming yet? But hear me out. My spiritual life began when I made my determined way to this faith. Why? Because I needed something to keep me from drowning in the strong current of political lies and wartime barbarity that characterized the 1970s. And because, while the memories and rituals of my Jewish upbringing captivated me, the political and religious messages turned me off. I wanted more engagement in change and less of being chosen. My intuitive self sensed that we are, all of us, chosen. My intuitive self sensed that all of us have been called to sacred work. Well, I didn't yet know the how and why of it. I was searching for something more universal. And though there were wonderful Reformed temples and active ethical culture societies, I was not familiar with them, and quite frankly, my wise heart knew it needed something more. I can't tell you how many times over these years I've spoken to a new convert to our faith, and the most frequent reason they say they are here is, as soon as I entered, I felt at home. Or, here, I feel known. I imagine you have all had similar conversations. We are the good news that so many people are seeking. Here, we are all charged with ministering to one another. Here, in this congregation, this sanctuary and beyond, we don't expect platitudes, easy answers, and false love. We expect to feel known and cared for despite our quirks, our peculiarities and questions and bruises from earlier religious practices, or none. It is why we come, why we remain, and why we look into each other's eyes each Sunday morning, knowing, trusting we are seen as wholly lovable, just as we are. Welcome, dear ones, to this morning's worship. This morning we light the chalice to honor all the ways this liberal religious faith both gives to us and asks of us. Do you want to announce it?
Good morning. Let us arise in body or spirit, and we will sing together from the Teal Hymnal, 1024, When the Spirit Says Do. We're just going to follow the replacements that are at the bottom of the page.
So this morning's offertory has been changed due to some very troubling circumstances. The offertory this morning is a split plate with First Parish Kingston. The members and friends of First Parish Kingston Mass are deeply saddened by the violent and targeted attack on their historic meeting house early on July 4th. Significant damage was inflicted, and Pride and Black Lives Matter flags were torn down and burned, reminding us of a troubling history of desecration and arson. Your offering will benefit this organization, the great work of this particular Unitarian church, and help them to heal as they move forward. Please give generously.
If you're feeling down or weak, you can always count on me. I will always pick you up. Nothing's ever gonna change. Nothing's getting in my way. I will always hold you up. Anything, come what may, don't look back, forget yesterday. I know sometimes you're feeling lost. It's hard to find your place in it all, but you don't have to fear. And even when you mess up, you always got my love. I'm always right here. Oh, 'cause anything, come what may, don't look back, forget yesterday. Forget yesterday. It's not where you come from, it's where you belong. Nothing like the train. I wouldn't have it any other day. Surrounded by love and you're wanted, so never feel alone. You are home with me, where you belong. Don't matter where you've been. You're here for a reason. It's not where you come from, it's where you belong. Nothing like the strange. I wouldn't have it any other way. Surrounded by love and you're wanted, so never feel alone. You are home with me, right where you belong.
I invite you into a time of meditation. We will be doing a movement meditation to be followed by silence as you move deeper into the words of Rumi.
What is the deep listening? Sama is a greeting from the secret ones inside the heart, a letter. The branches of your intelligence grow new leaves in the wind of this listening. The body reaches a peace. Rooster sound comes, reminding you of your love for dawn. The reed flute and the singer's lips, the knack of how spirit breathes into us, becomes as simple and ordinary as eating and drinking. The dead rise with the pleasure of listening. If someone can't hear a trumpet melody, sprinkle dirt on his head and declare him dead. Listen and feel the beauty of your separation, the unsayable absence. There's a moon inside every human being. Learn to be companions with it. Give more of your life to this listening. As brightness is to time, so you are to the one who talks to the deep ear in your chest. I should sell my tongue and buy 1,000 ears. When that one steps near and begins to speak, I should sell my tongue and buy 1,000 ears. When that one steps near.
Will you join me, please, in our unison affirmation? We believe in love. Love is the doctrine of the Church. We believe in truth. We believe in helping others. We believe in the sacredness of life. Reunion. One of the old ones stood up into the morning light and spoke to those who had come back to the river. Now we have come again to this place. My life apart from you is not as strong. Yes, I have danced and I have told the stories at my own fire, and I have sung well to all 8 directions. But when I am with you, my friends, I know better who it is in me that sings. This liberal religious faith fills in the empty, lost places where deep questions, unknowns, hurts, and fears can live. It encourages us to dream, to remember the sweetness of childhood when, for those of us who were lucky, there was abundant safety. Our historic sanctuary is one such place of safety. In a world that leaves us always afraid, our faith demands that we move ahead, not getting snarled in the tangle of hopelessness. Here we raise up what is beautiful, what is sacred and divine, along with what is horrid and ugly and tragic. And we are asked to attend to both. For to ignore the dangers of our current global and political reality is foolhardy, but to drown in it is to miss the sublime. We are called to do good, to be good, and to name what is good and what is holy. Because there are still those mystical and delicious moments. At the same time, we are required to act on behalf of justice, to see the rot and the greed and the heinous othering, and to do our best to change it. As we say in the Jewish faith, we make tikkun olam. We heal the world. In its best application, our faith acknowledges all aspects of life, the sordid and the ethereal. How else to live fully? And UU reminds us and prods us. It is a living faith. Life is not only pain, but it is friendship and mercy and community and language that speaks of enchantment, that assists us when we are afraid in the dark. Let me share a piece of my history and invite you to consider your own history and what brought you here. I hope it is more than our warm, compassionate, creative, artistic, thoughtful congregation, although that is a large part of our attachment to this place. But there is more. There is a kind of biblical construct that, while not rooted in dogma, is rooted in kindness, ritual, and covenant. Raised Jewish, I married a radical Catholic, adopted a black daughter, and birthed a white son. In those days, the radical 70s, the movement eschewed spiritual engagement. In fact, in his seminal book, The Left Hand of God, about radical activism, Rabbi Michael Lerner addressed that very element that had been missing from much of our protest movements during those turbulent years. He approached justice as a religious imperative. When I read that book through a UU adult education format, and when I heard him speak at General Assembly in my early 40s, I began to understand what had been missing in my politics. Without a heart attachment language, I was not fully engaged, or maybe not engaged with an acknowledgement of love at the core. We did good work. We turned the tide of history. But missing was the kind of spirit that nourishes, rejuvenates, and refills. I found some of that with Quaker civil disobedience, but not enough. Some years later, I read Gloria Steinem's autobiographical book, Revolution from Within, wherein she articulated her many successful years of feminist advocacy and mission. She wrote at that time that absent a spiritual center, she'd begun to wear out. And she took time off from her leadership to go deeper, and it resonated with me. Soon after, I connected with the ongoing political work of a nearby UU congregation. And though the minister at that time was more oriented towards a wholly humanist approach to our faith, as was the most common practice then, his leadership was rich, ongoing, and generous, and I found my way happily into that church once I had children. Because, and I have always said this, nobody does children like Unitarian Universalism. My children still remember their mentors, their secret friends, and trips to General Assembly. In fact, my daughter met a best friend, or BFF, so I can be cool, at a drum conference she attended at the Boston GA. DRUM is the acronym for Diverse Revolutionary Unitarian Universalist Ministry. Charlotte, also a young woman of color, had been adopted by a white UU minister and her wife. My kid and Charlotte immediately bonded. They were 15. That's a long time to wait to meet someone who knows what you feel inside. And I was so grateful. During those years, there was an incredible vitality to our faith that spoke deeply to me. The Reverend Bill Singford, president of the UUA during the early 2000s, introduced his own brand of spiritual ministry, which he called the language of reverence. I was captivated by his unique way of framing the issues that confronted us, and by his understanding of the religious imperative for justice making. I learned to listen deeply, judge less harshly, and pay attention to the wonder that was still available for the taking. I became a better person, a better teacher, a better mother. Those were halcyon days of growing my artistic and religious leadership. I loved who I'd been, but I loved who I was becoming even better. At that time, I was also profoundly impacted by the Reverend Dr. Bill Schultz, who led the UUA from 85 to 93, and who went on to become the executive director of Amnesty International. While at the helm of Amnesty, he published a brilliant article in the UU World in November of 2006. That article, "What Torture Has Taught Me," shook me to my very soul and has remained with me all these years later. That article is available online should you wish to read it. It is mind-blowing. These two ministers in particular have grown and nurtured my understanding of faith. Neither of them are Pollyanna in their ministry, but thoughtful, compassionate, honest, and provocative. Their ministries represent the best of who we are as a religious force in this troubled world. So, what's in this faith for me now that I'm no longer young? Aging is a fascinating process, and I don't think it can be done alone. It's not a solitary path. Aging brings with it new challenges that we may never have considered 20, 30, 40 years ago. Today, I am less politically active, but equally committed. I am less anxious, but more thoughtful. I continue to have a giant, juicy heart, but it is more porous. I want to be a force for change, but I need this faith to do it. I need this church's song and poetry and truth-telling and sermons stimulating self-reflection to stay afloat. I need you and your love and kinship to feel known and heard. It is a place to be saved, this house of worship. Whatever your ideas of the divine or no divine, here we make a vow, and there is no judging, only listening. Here we come with our imperfect selves. We learn to make friends with those imperfect selves, and we learn from each other. We help each other stay grounded, inspired, transformed, loved, appreciated, and centered. That is the gift of our faith. Change is inevitable, but growth is optional. Here we are always growing and ever changing. Unitarian Universalism is a faith for all times, particularly in bleak times. What has been is no longer. What is ahead is unclear. Where do we find the most hope, the most viable possibility? For me, this faith is a lifeboat that remains afloat because the mothership never stops sending out signals that tell us we are seen and we will be saved. It is the stars that guide us out of the darkness. It is the garden of 1,000,000 unique flowers. It is my lodestar. And though it will disappoint, maybe lose its way at times, and surely make mistakes, still it seeks to link our behavior to our highest aspirations. It begs us to keep on keeping on. Thank you for walking this path with me. May our faith guide us all safely into port whenever we are in need. Amen, and blessed be.
Let us rise in body or spirit and join in singing from the Teal hymnal, 1020, Woyaya.
You may remain standing for the benediction. I believe there is no justice, but that cotton grass and bunchberry grow on the mountain. I believe that a scorpion's sting will kill a man, but that his wife will remarry. I believe that the older we get, the weaker the body, but the stronger the soul. I believe that if you roll over at night in an empty bed, the air consoles you. I believe that no one is spared the darkness and no one gets all of it. I believe we all drown eventually in a sea of our making, but that the land belongs to someone else. I believe in destiny, and I believe in free will. I believe that when all the clocks break, time goes on without them. And I believe that whatever pulls us under will do so gently, so as not to disturb anyone, so as not to interfere with what we believe in. Amen.
Thank you.